Hi, in this video, we are going to talk about remedial classes. We are going to go into micro and macro detailing. Remedial classes are there in all the schools for slow learners. So, we will get into the details of remedial classes, remedial teaching, remedial support to the students, and we are going to get into micro and macro both levels. Remedial teaching or remedial classes enable child to gain positive impact by filling his cognitive academic gaps. Students, those who have fallen temporarily behind in their studies or otherwise need a short term support in their learning, they have all the rights to get a remedial teaching. Remedial classes, see, this is very important. Remedial classes should be immediately started when you see difficulties in learning or school attendance drop has been noticed, so that the students are not and would not stay behind permanently in their studies. If you find a fall in their attendance or you find difficulty in learning, then immediately grab that child for remedial teaching. Catch them beforehand. And remedial teaching must be organized according to plan whenever needed. What is a remedial instruction? Remedial instruction is where the student has found deficiency in learning in any class, in mathematics, in English, maybe in Hindi, maybe in social science, physics, chemistry. So immediately, as soon as there is a learning deficiency being found, we have identified the deficiency, immediately a remedial class must be started. As I mentioned, that I am going to go into the micro detailing also. What are the objectives of remedial teaching? Every student is different in terms of learning ability. Not every student is going to learn in the same speed, same pace. So every student is different in terms of learning ability. They're different in academic standards. They're different in classroom learning, and they're different in academic performance. Everybody has got their own way of learning. So this aim or the duty of a principal or a teacher is to provide learning support to all the students, those who are lagging far behind. Before the remedial class, teachers need to do some preparation. Teachers need to find out something about student. They need to find out about their learning needs, and according to that a remedial plan must be made. For effective learning of the child, a teaching preparation must be done. Then you need to create a meaningful learning situation. A student is not learning in the classroom environment, then a meaningful learning situation must be designed. Some games, some activities for their learning experience must be thought over, so that we can stimulate their interest, and we can initiate them into the learning process. So learning situation needs to be there. Then our teaching approach needs to be very different. We should not jump onto the concept. We need to give them some concrete examples, abstract concepts, so that some concepts which can easily slip into their mind, and according to the learning ability of the student. We must not think that the remedial classroom is there, then we start teaching them regularly. No, we have to make an approach. These slow learners have to be given clear instructions. While teaching, small portions need to be covered to avoid confusions. Not that the whole portion is covered at one time. Summarize the main points. Just don't leave it to the student, because you need to understand the slow learners. You need to summarize. While summarizing, link to their real life experiences. Whatever they are going through, whatever they are doing, link it to the real life experiences while summarizing, so that effectiveness of learning is there. We need to create an interest in the students. We need to motivate the students, because these students, those who are slow learners, lack with the confidence. They are passive in class. They will not speak much. They will never ask a question. So, with the remedial teaching, active participation. We need to encourage the students for active participation in the class. We need to create a pleasurable learning experience for the student. Rather than focusing on the end result for these students, focus on the learning process. Focus on the transmission of knowledge. Because students must get benefited of this learning process, not just that there is a remedial class and students have not been benefited at all. Teachers must provide ample of opportunities for the students to practice, to think what they have learned. We need to show some concern. For the child. Because if we show some concern before the class, remedial class, after the class, inside the class, then the learning obstacles are going to improve. We will remove the learning obstacles from the learning. So show some concern. See, we'll get into further more details. We need to ensure that these students are not doing the complete syllabus. We must understand that they have to acquire knowledge. It's not necessary to cover every concept of the book. Cover as minimum as possible for their examination, so that they are able to cope up. So we need to see that what curriculum portion we need to adapt for these slow learners. We need to create a homework policy for them very clearly, and which has to be reviewed. And while designing the homework for these remedial, for these slow learners, we need to have a clear-cut objective of that homework. We need to see that all the learners are accommodated and their needs are understood. We have to give a variety of homework to enhance or to bring out their creativity. Sometimes we have to have a collaborative approach and self-learning. Collaborative means few students are sitting together to learn, and a self-learning must be motivated, and this must be done in the homework part. Whatever is being taught in the class, the homework must be same at home, because they can directly relate. The teachers have to give a very, clear instruction. An appropriate amount of homework only must be given. Not that a huge homework might be given to these slow learners or the students, those who need remedial teaching. We need to include lot of activities while teaching them. With small steps, very small steps, we need to bring them up. We need to do diversified activities. We need to give instant feedback to them. Teachers should encourage students to participate actively during the learning process so that they master the skills and method. We can do some oral, we can do games, we can do some research, we can do some models, figures, drawing. We can even do some role play. Role play is very interesting with these slow learners. They will get interested, they will leave their passive part, they can get active in their classes. We can show some recordings, we can take them to a museum, we can make them do some experiment. We have to enhance their interest in learning. We have to stimulate their thinking. We have to set up an environment. We have well-designed learning environment so that their interest, attention is always there, so that you are able to achieve the teaching aim. There are various strategies also in remedial teaching. One is teacher is teaching. That is individual approach, individual one-to-one approach. Then there is a peer support, friend support program. This can be another strategy for the students to have remedial teaching. The student, those who are doing better, must be attached to this student who requires some support. The best student with the slow learner and the peer learning will happen. Put them responsible that, okay, you are responsible for this particular child so that academically this, growth and a collaborative approach happens. A group learning happens. Sometimes for these slow learning, small rewards must be there. But rewards also on very specific target, not just like that, rewards must be given. A specific target that on dictation L, you will get this. We need to, on this assignment, you are going to get this reward. If you complete this assignment, if you learn this, you are going to get some reward. So some reward, this is again a strategy with this remedial students. So you can sometimes call the parents, that we are going to call your parents and say that you have done a wonderful work and you are improving. This can be again a very good reward. Have some points, make them star. On revision, give them some reward. And these reward policies again have to be changed again time to time. So remedial teaching, we were thinking it is so easy. But no, it is scientific. You need to develop some skills, learning habit, attitude in the student. You have to tell them that you have to do assignment very neat and tidy. You have to ensure that they keep their promises and they become more responsible, disciplined. They have to have a constructive attitude and they have to become a lifelong learner. That is what is the teachers or the school's whole soul aim, that they become a lifelong learner. They must not always remain as slow learners. They must be, we have to ensure that our teaching and learning is very effective. We need to have a regular assessments and keep that record. Because if you're not doing assessments, then child is not going to get serious. And if you have assessment, a test, a formative test or a summative test, that is immaterial. But teacher will get to know what are the strength and weakness of the student. And while knowing the strength and the weakness, they can plan out. They can change their strategy of teaching. They can change the activity. While remedial classes are going on, you have to liaison with the parents. You have to talk to the parents. For the homework, for revision work, for reading work, or any other thing. You have to talk to the parents, keep them in loop that we are having the remedial classes for this particular child. Parents must also be aware. A remedial teacher must coordinate with the class teacher and all the other teachers of the class, so that everyone is aware that this is a slow learner and we have to really work on this child. And if there is a slow learner, that the learner requires remedial teaching. I'll just give you few more tips for the slow learners. Be patient with them. Be patient with slow learners. Involve students. Give them minimum homework. Tell somebody to teach them. Encourage them to learn and write things. Give them small takeaways. Praise these slow learners. Praise and raise them. Encourage that every time a parent-teacher meeting happens on a very frequent basis. These were few points because I know that you're taking remedial classes, but keeping all these points in mind will make your remedial teaching better. See this video again and again, because once seeing, it is going to go bouncer. See this video again and again, you will understand. As a principal, as a teacher, fine, you know the tips. As a principal, you can find a lot of points, review points from this. Still, as a principal, maintain a record, and that record on the as per principal's handbook, principal's task grid must come to you. Class-wise weak students list must come to you every week. This must go to the examination department. Even if you have to create a different question paper for these students, do that. Motivate, praise them, raise them. Principals must go and check the remedial classes, whether remedial classes are actually happening as per the timetable or not. Organize monthly tests, weekly tests for these remedial students and ensure that they come out from the slow learner process to a regular student. When you have in the review process as a principal, when you know these are the slow learners of your school, ask the teachers to send their notebooks on the review day to you. Check whether they have completed their work or not. Check that whether the minimum learning level has been met or not. Check that they are doing their homework or not. Pick up a phone and call some parents that we are concerned and we are doing this and this is going to happen. Do that on the review day. Train your teachers. Ask them to motivate them to see this video. Ask them to find out new activities, new way, so that the interest is created amongst these remedial or the slow learners. Check on the attendance of these remedial students on a very regular basis. Attendance is mandatory to be checked. So on the review day, all the slow learner list is coming and their attendance must also, and see that the timetable has been matched or not. And if necessary, design a separate lesson plan for them. If there are more than few students in the class, those who are slow learners, a separate lesson plan must be there for them. These are few tips. When you watch this video again, you will find a lot of tips, and internet is there to browse a lot of. Now you have some idea that remedial teaching is not what we were doing. We have to strategize, we have to frame, we have to create a learning environment for them. So think over, do better remedial teaching. Ensure that with the remedial teaching, the learner who is a slow learner this year must not be a slow learner next year. That is what is going to be the most effective remedial teaching, what a principal can ensure that happens, a teacher can ensure that happens, and students must be largely benefited with this remedial teaching concept of your school. I am sure that you might have found this video helpful. It might have given you some insight, some thought to critically think how to go about and teach the slow learners. If you've liked this video, subscribe the channel. because we are adding on a lot of videos every day, every week, every month. We are going to be adding on some videos. So I'm sure this, if you subscribe this channel, you will get a lot of information at at your tips. Use this principal diary. Principal's diary is going to remind you that this particular day remedial teaching review has to be done. I'm sure that you'll have a great day because you've learned something beautiful. Thank you very much.